Dear student, this is lesson number 4 in managerial economics. Myself, Professor G. Rajkumar, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Commerce, Shift 2, Sacred Hearts College, Autonomous, Tirupattur. In this video, we will discuss about the tools used in managerial economics. After watching this video, you will understand the tools used in managerial economics. This video will explain the tools of managerial economics. Tools or principles used in managerial economics, or tools or principles of managerial economics. Let us begin with the opportunities cost principle. Opportunities cost principle mainly used in decision making. This principle is used by the management when they decide the business policies or business activities. What does opportunity cost principle means? Opportunity cost is what a person sacrifices when he chooses one option over another. It is very clear that what a person sacrifices when he chooses, already he has the option, he is using it. When he wants to shift the option, what amount he sacrifices, the amount or the figure will be opportunities cost. When a person using methods or principles, or when a person using already an option, he does not want that option to obtain or to keep the option no more. When he wants to shift to the next best alternative, what is the cost he is going to sacrifice? That cost will be opportunities cost. If there are no sacrifice, there will be no cost. If he or she does not want to shift the option, they are ready to move with what they have, there will be no sacrifice. If they want to shift their option, then they have to sacrifice the cost, which is called opportunities cost. To calculate opportunity cost, I have given the formula. Opportunity cost equal to FO minus CO, which means FO, foregone option, sacrificed option, minus CO, chosen option. The person who has sacrificed one option, which is called foregone option, return on best foregone option. He foregone, which means he sacrificed one option and he has chosen the option, another option. So what is the difference between foregone option and the chosen option will be called opportunity cost. The amount of money which is derivated from the foregone option minus chosen option, the figures will be opportunity cost. Let me explain you with the example. For better understanding. Mr. Stock works in a restaurant and he earns 3 lakhs for a year. So Mr. Stock is an employee in a restaurant and he could make 3 lakhs per year. Now what he has done is he quitted the job and started his own restaurant. Now what is the opportunity cost? To calculate opportunity cost, I have given the formula FO minus CO. FO, which means foregone option or gave up the option, and CO, which means chosen option. Here foregone option is 3 lakhs. He was working in a restaurant and he makes 3 lakhs per year. He quitted the job, which means he forgone the option, and he has chosen the new option. How much he derives from the chosen option? In the first year, after quitting his job from the restaurant, he earns 1 lakh rupees. He makes 1 lakh rupees. So what is the opportunity cost? Now we will apply into the formula. Foregone option, which means 3 lakhs he could have made for a year, minus how much he earned from the new restaurant or his own restaurant is 1 lakh. Now the difference between 3 lakh and 1 lakh is 2 lakh, which is the remaining figures between 3 lakh and 1 lakh, which is also called opportunities cost. So opportunity cost, which means the difference between FO minus CO. FO, which means foregone option, and CO, which means chosen option. In the second year, from his own restaurant, he could managed to earn 2 lakhs. Mr. Stock earned 2 lakhs in the second year. Now what is the opportunity cost? So foregone option, he would have been earned 3 lakhs, but this year, in the second year, he could make 2 lakhs. Now the difference between 3 lakh and 2 lakh is 1 lakhs, which is opportunities cost of Mr. Stock in the second year. In the second year, he has opportunity cost of 1 lakh. Now we will move to fifth year. In the fifth year, his restaurant got recognition, it has got goodwill. Now his business booms. Now he could make 3 lakhs per year. Now what is the opportunity cost? Again, we will apply into the formula. FO minus CO. Foregone option, he could have made 3 lakhs minus. Now he earns 6 lakhs. Now difference between 3 lakh and 6 lakh is 3 lakhs, which is opportunities cost of fifth year. Mr. Stock has 3 lakhs in the fifth year, because now he makes 6 lakh as a profit, but he sacrificed 3 lakhs. So what is the meaning of opportunity cost? What the person sacrificed when he choose them another option, or when he shifts the option. In this fifth year, instead of working in the same restaurant, he has started his own restaurant, and he makes 6 lakh per year, and he sacrificed 3 lakhs. That 3 lakhs is called opportunities cost. The second principle of managerial economics is incremental principles. This principle mainly used to increase the profit. How much exactly the company must produce extra? How much the company must produce extra in order to get the best profit? To get best profit, or to maximize their profit, or to reach the maximum point of profit, how much the company must produce? How much do they have to produce? When they have to produce more than what they are producing, when they are trying to produce more than what they have been producing, or what is their average production, there they have to face two things. One thing, cost. They have to incur the cost in order to produce, and in return they will get the revenue. So in this or under this incremental principle, two things will be analyzed. The one, cost, incremental cost, incremental which means increased more than average or more than what they are producing. Incremental revenue, another one, incremental revenue, which means increased revenue. If they are going to produce more than what they are producing, they must increase revenue, or it must increase the revenue. So under this principle, two things will be analyzed. Incremental cost, which means may be defined as the changes in the total cost resulting from a particular decision, and incremental revenue is the changes in the total revenue resulting from a particular decision which means producing more than what they are producing. If they are decided to produce more, the consequences will be more in terms of cost and in terms of revenue. Let me explain you with the example. Let me explain you with the example. If a company gets new order, suppose a new order is estimated to bring in additional revenue of 10,000. That new order will bring the revenue of 10,000. Now, how they can classify or how they can allocate the resources? For labor, they have to spend 3,000. Material, inevitably they have to buy, it is 4,000. Overhead charges, at least they have to pay 3,600. Selling and administration expenses, maybe it will cost around 1,400. Then total cost will be 12,000. Now, by taking new order, they have to spend 12,000, but the revenue of the new order will be 10,000. So 2,000 they have to incur loss. How now the company can produce and make profit in the new order? How the company can get the new order and make profit within the revenue amount? However, suppose there is an ideal capacity which can be utilized to execute this order. Sometimes laborers are there already. They have been working to produce them average or maximum production. Laborers are there. We no need to pay extra money. In some cases, if they have to work more than their work time, they can be paid extra. And material, it is inevitable. Of course, they have to purchase from outside. There they cannot compensate the amount. They cannot minimize the amount. Of course, they have to buy the material. Overhead charges, it is already there in the company. What they have been producing, what they have been spending, already they can take. Selling and administration expenses, already they are doing in that company. Already they are producing them products and they are selling the product. They have selling and administrative department effectively, for which they are no need to spend extra money. So now what will be them new expenses? If new orders adds only 1,000 rupees to overhead charges and 2,000 by the way of labor cost, because some of them ideal workers are already on the payroll. As I said earlier, some workers are already in the pay scale. And additionally, if they have to work, additionally the company can pay, but not that much. Now what is the new expenses? How they can allocate the resources, or how they can allocate the expenses? Labor, they can pay 2,000 instead of paying 3,000. Material, as I said earlier, it is inevitable. There we cannot compensate. So for which we have to pay 4,000. And overhead charges, rupees 1000 rupees. To produce extra they have to pay electricity bill and other expenses too. So 1000 rupees we can pay for that. And selling and overhead selling and administrative expenses for which they no need to pay. Already the department is there, they are ready to sell them product for which they no need to pay the money. Now the total incremental cost will be 7000. Now the company can earn a profit of 3000. Now the company can earn a profit of 3000. In under these principles, these things will be analyzed. How to produce extra product to reach the maximum point to reach them maximum profit. Under this principle, managerial economics helps to take the new orders and gain or to maximize the business. So let me go to the third principle of managerial economics, that is principles of time perspective. Under this principle, all the business activities will be classified under two perspectives, that is short run and a long run. All the business activities must be classified or will classified under two perspective. Number one, short run and long run. Here two terms or two perspectives are very important. Company should not go with short run, and in another way they should not go with long run. They have to mitigate or they have to obtain both short run and long run business activities. Now I will explain you with the example. If a company gets order in short run, if a company gets an order in short run, say for example, if a company gets to produce 500 units for 10 each, the new order is ready to pay 10 rupees, and they are going to give only once in a time. They don't want to give more orders. Only once in a time they are ready to give, but they are ready to pay 10 rupees for each unit. Totally they need 500 units. Now the company will get 5000. It is one case. In another case, there is a company who is ready to give the order about producing 300 units, but they are not ready to pay 10 rupees. Instead they are ready to pay 8 rupees. In the order they are ready to give 4 times in a year. 4 times in a year. Now, so what is the output? 300 units into 8 into 4. Totally the company will get 9600 per year. Now, which is more important? The question is very long. As a company, they have to obtain both the short run and the long run. They should not avoid any orders from the marketers or client. So in order to obtain both the marketers or clients, managerial economics will help under this principle to identify what are short run business activities, what are long run business activities. It helps to choose and to decide the business activity. Accordingly, it helps to obtain the both short run and long run business activity. The fourth principle of managerial economics is discounting principle. Discounting principle does not mean discounting the price of the product. In this case, it slightly differs. What is the meaning of discounting principles? Let me explain you with an example. It is not easy to explain in a single line. Let me make you clear with an example. If a person is offered to make choice between today's money with tomorrow money, if a person is offered to make choice between today's money, the same amount of money will be given in the next year. Normally the person will choose today's money because today's money will the value of today's money will be less in the future year, because always the money value will differ. When the money value differs, he has to find out the net value of today's money compared to next year money, which is called discounting principle. Here, when today's money is compared with the future year, he has to calculate the net value of today's money, which is otherwise called discounting or net percent value, calculating net percent value. Let me explain this point with example. A dollar tomorrow is worth less than a dollar today. This seems similar to saying that a bird in the hand is more worth than two birds in the bushes. A simple example would make this point clear. Suppose a person is offered a choice to make between a gift of rupees 100 today or rupees 100 next year. Normally he will choose 100 today. If a person is offered to choose, of course he will choose today's gift. So there are two reasons for choosing the present or current or today's gift. The first one, future is always uncertain. We cannot predict the future. Future is always uncertain. We cannot predict the future. So there may be uncertainty in getting 100 rupees back. So this is the one case. Secondly, even if he is sure to receive the gift in the future, today's 100 rupee, I repeat, even he is sure to receive the gift in the future, today's 100 rupee can be invested so as to earn interest. If he gets 100 rupee today, he can invest in the business and he can make more money in the future. When the person is given in same amount in the next year, he will not accept. Why? Because he will get the today's money and invest in the business and make more money. So there is a difference between today's money and tomorrow money. Even the amount is same, there is a difference. So under this discounting principle method, managerial economics gives idea or techniques or methods to calculate net present value of tomorrow money. Net present value of tomorrow money, where the value of exact money is calculated. Let me explain or let me show you the calculation of discounting the value of money. How to calculate discounting or how to calculate net present value of money. Let me explain you with formula. To calculate present value of tomorrow's money, say for example, if a person is going to receive 100 rupees next year, I repeat, if a person is going to receive 100 rupee next year, what is the exact value of 100 rupees in today? What is the value of 100 rupees today? So how to calculate present value of 100 rupees next year? To calculate this one, to calculate present value, I have given you the formula. V is equal to A divided by 1 plus I. A, which means amount invested, 100 rupees, divided by 1 year, number of years, after how many years you are going to receive. I have given 1 year, which means next year. Next year I am going to receive 100 rupees. What is the present value of 100 rupees next year? What is the present value of 100 rupees that I am going to receive in the future year or next year, 1 year, after 1 year, plus I, rate of interest. If I have invested that money, if I had invested 100 rupees in business, I would have been got 5 rupees. I would have been got 5 rupees. Now we will calculate according to the formula. V is equal to 100 rupees. The amount of invested money is 100 rupees divided by 1 year is equal to 5%. If you want to convert the percentage into numbers, just percentage divided by 100. Percentage 5% divided by 100 equal to, you will get figures, you will get numbers. If you want to convert them percentage into numbers, just you have to write them percentage divided by 100, you will get them numbers. So this is how I did. 100 divided by 1 plus 1 year plus 0.05 is equal to 100 divided by 1.05 equal to 95.24 paise. If I get 100 rupees next year, the value of 100 rupee in today's value is 95 rupees only. I have given you another example. If it is 10,000, if I am going to receive 10,000 in the next year, what is the value of 10,000 in today's time? 10,000 divided by 1 next year plus 0.05 is equal to 10,000 divided by 1.05. Actually I made a mistake. 10,000 divided by 1.05, totally I will get 9,524 rupees. If I am going to receive 10,000 next year, the value of 10,000 in today's time is 9,500. So what is the meaning of discount principle? Here what do they discount? They compare the 10,000 with the future year and they discount the 10,000. The value of the money, the difference between 10,000 minus 9,524 is discount. They are discounting the value, comparing with the future year, and discount the value of 10,000. This is what discounting principle. This is what how to calculate discounting the value and finding out the present value of. The last principle of managerial economics is the equi-marginal principle. Equi-marginal principle. Under this principle, the resource allocation must be generalized. This principle states that an input should be allocated in such a way that the value added by the last unit of the input is the same in all its uses. It is very clear that the resource allotted or allocated to the first unit must equal to the last unit. There should not be any exceedingly supply of raw material or supply of resources to one unit and inefficient allocation of resources to another unit. So what do I mean? The allocation of resources must be equalized or generalized. There should not be any discriminatory. There should not be any ups and downs in supplying the allocation of resources, or there should not be insufficient allocation of resources to one unit and abundant allocation of one unit. That should not be there. So when they are going to allocate the resources, with the help of the managerial economics under equi-marginal principle, all the resources will be equalized or generalized, so that there will not be any discriminatory in the product. The output of the product will remain same. The output of the product will be equalized. Let me explain you with the example. If a company has 5 activities, that is A, B, C, D and E, the company can increase any one of these activity by employing more labor, but only at the cost or within the available labor by sacrificing of the other activity. Say for example, if activity B makes more production, compared to A. If they are producing more than what they have to produce, the capacity or the output of the activity B will be more. When you want to equate, we have to deploy the labor in A, or the company has to decide to send the labor from B to A. Then the activity will be equalized. So in one activity, if the employees are making more profit, from that point or from that activity, the manager or the company must send to them other activity where the production is very low, so that all the activities will get equalized and the output of the company will be equalized. So no activity will stagnate. So equally they will produce, or in order to get equal production, the resources must be equalized. So these are the principles of managerial economics. As I said earlier, I have given you a short introduction about the principles of managerial economics. I hope that this video was useful. I made you to understand, not that much, at least I made you to understand the primitive. Thank you very much for watching this video. Kindly do subscribe the channel for more videos. We have been uploading the videos in the managerial economics. Thank you very much for watching this video.